On today's show, Jamal Murray, what would he get out of playing for Team Canada? We take a look at the roster and break down why it might be a good thing for him. We're also going to talk about Isaiah Collier, Kel'el Ware, scouting reports. I almost got it. And then the Nuggets beat the Boston Celtics in 2024, the 2023 Nuggets. Would they beat the 2001 Lakers? We do all of that and more on today's DNVR Nuggets. Oh, baby. What is up, everybody? Welcome to the DNVR show.
Let's go.
Live from the Toyota Lounge, driven by your Front Range Toyota stores. Toyota, the official vehicle of DNVR. I've got the homies in the house over here, rocking the Volo seat. Brennan Vogt.
What's up, gang? How's it going, boys? Happy to be here. Happy to turn the page on a season that ruined my life.
What about, and then over here, I've got Harrison Wynn.
I'm feeling a little better than that today, I think. Off of 3 hours sleep.
Man,
with the newborn.
Is this the worst day so far of the fatherhood?
Yeah, the 7 a.m. bedtime was rough.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Not
tough.
great.
Uh-huh.
But we're living. We're living and thriving.
Good news for you. That only lasts for a couple more years.
Yeah. I don't know what I got myself into.
You're about to find out, man. Want to remind everybody we are 1 week away, almost to the hour, for our draft show. Live here from the DNVR bar. Come hang out. We're going to make it a fun night, a fun event. You can listen to our live stream right downstairs. We got a great deal. You come in, you get the $12 burger and the Breck beer. By the way, I have hope. Do you guys remember how delicious that Ridge Runner the new beer from Breckenridge Brewery is that we had?
Yeah.
My favorite, I'm not kidding when I say this, my new favorite Breckenridge Brewery, I am working right now with the brewmasters down at the farmhouse to get us some for that event.
Oh, I can't wait.
So I can't promise that we'll have it, but later this week, I'm hoping I can promise you to come in and try the new best beer from Breckenridge Brewery.
Buy your tickets online, though. TheDNVR.com.
You can get them when you show up if they're still available, but you definitely want to reserve in advance. Come on down, hang out with us. It should be a great time. We're going to start today, guys. First of all, I wasn't here yesterday for the show. I know we talked about the Celtics.
It was a good show.
That's what I hear. And I know that, we did this in the group chat, but I just want to put it out in public. This playoff run with the Celtics winning has been, for me, the longest loss has lingered. Just lingered. Because you watch all these teams and you're like, they're no better than our beloved Nuggets. They're not. The Nuggets weren't themselves. So it hurt. But I will say, I do feel that with Tuesday's win for the Boston Celtics, or Monday's win, that was the last for me. That was like the final peeling of the scab. I'm over it. It's a new era, and it honestly feels that way, where it feels like, thank God it's over. I don't have to watch, those teams anymore. It's all over, and I can finally turn my attention. And it did feel cathartic to me in a way.
Oh, yeah. Thank God, too. I can't talk about blowing a 20-point lead in Game 7 at home and being the only team to ever do that ever again.
Well, it sounds like it still stings a little bit there.
I don't want to talk about that ever again.
But I
don't want to talk about being the hunter or the hunted.
Well, that part I know you don't want to talk about. Well, Nuggets now officially are the hunter.
Someone tweeted that last night. I almost texted it to Harrison.
We got to all just start tagging Harrison.
Nobody ever say that again.
Hunter versus
But no,
hunter.
I'm very ready to turn the page as well. Look, we know what happened last season. We've talked about it ad nauseum.
Yeah.
We've uncovered every nook and cranny and turned every page, and I'm very ready to move on into the draft.
It was a little different for you.
No, I'm thinking about it compared to last year when we were kind of bummed at how quickly it all moves off your title. You want to savor it. Flip side is,
it's so true.
after a disappointing season, you're like, oh, the offseason starts already? Like, what's up with KCP? You couldn't turn the page fast enough.
I forgot about last year how it was. Yeah, Nuggets win on Monday. Tuesday's show is immediately free agency on ESPN and stuff. You're like, hey,
wait a second.
bask for a moment.
It just happened.
You're right that it's the opposite, where I'm already ready for all the rumors and reports.
That's how it works.
One of those rumors and reports, though, Team Canada, we've been waiting for the official roster to come out. And what do you know? Jamal Murray is on the training camp roster
It's a
list.
big roster.
It is a big roster, but
It's a good roster.
we've talked a lot about Team Serbia because we're so excited for it. Team Canada, man, when you see these names, first of all, hell of a team. Holy crap, that's a good team.
An absolutely loaded team. You just go down this list. These are all pretty much NBA players. You know?
Yep.
Kyle Alexander, Kel'el Alexander-Walker, RJ Barrett. A bunch of big-time NBA names. Zach Edey, getting the Christian Laettner spot on this Canada national team. SGA. And then you go down the list a little further, Jamal Murray. Jamal Murray on the training camp roster, like he's been on a lot of Canada training camp rosters over the last couple of years.
So it made me think, we haven't spent a ton of time on this, but when this list came out and I went through it, I had so many thoughts. And my top thought is this. We talk about how good this could, Yo gets to go play with some new guys, and we know it's important to the Serbs. That's why I'm so pro him playing.
Yeah.
With Murray, off season, get in shape, get better, all these different things. But then I started thinking, this might be good for him, actually. I kind of want him to play, and for a very specific reason, Vote. The reason is, would he start?
Man.
Would he start on this team?
And if he did, would the ball be in his hands?
I look at it and I go, let's go to the locks to start right now.
Okay.
I mean, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is a lock. After that, who else is a lock on this team?
RJ Barrett, probably a lock.
You think he's a lock?
At the three?
Because you have even Dylan Brooks is there, might be a complimentary piece.
Dylan Brooks, you feel like
Kelly-
could be in that starting lineup?
You're already talking about
I'm just talking
fit,
about small forward. You're trying to go
Yeah.
through a roster.
but you're talking about fit right away,
Yep.
man. You're talking about fit right away because, look, Murray, of course, you could argue could be in that starting lineup. But do you prefer to go SGA alongside Dort and then Murray's off the bench?
And then who's your bench scorer, the guy to lead it?
Yeah.
And I just look at that and I go, this team is so clearly Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's. He's clearly the guy. And then you've got an Olynyk, you got a Dwight Powell, you have some bigs that you can throw out there. But Jamal Murray, Andrew Nembhard, Lou Dort, and Nickeil Alexander-Walker, that's a lot of guards vying for that last guard spot. And yes, it comes down to fit as much as anything. And if I just say who is best at leading a bench unit, being a sixth man player, of those guys, clearly Jamal Murray.
Well, I mean, Jamal Murray really led the Nuggets bench successfully over the last couple of years.
Man, what's wild is then you go Andrew Nembhard, who actually did. And so you look at this and go, actually,
know.
maybe not. So
Honestly, you do have a point there.
my point is, I think he should start. But there is this thing with Jamal that he's such a competitive guy, and we know how competitive he is with people coming for him internally on the Nuggets, right? Bones Highland, let's do a little shooting competition left-handed because, whatever. He's that guy. But you go into this environment and it's one, he can't really be that to Shai. Shai is, to me, unassailably the guy.
Yeah, and I think, didn't he play for Canada last
He's been doing it.
opportunity?
Yeah.
He went through the two-a-days. He
Yeah,
did everything.
he's earned it.
And I just look at that and I go, so now you're really vying for these other guys. And Nembhard, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Lou Dort, these are perfect guys for Murray to have to be better than. You know what I mean? Because they're all good. Nickeil Alexander-Walker just guarded him in a playoff series. Is he
Right.
afraid of Jamal Murray? Absolutely not. Andrew Nembhard just went to the conference finals and played a major role on that team in the conference finals. And then Lou Dort is an elite defender. And by the way, has been playing years with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Those are best friends.
Yep.
They have a great bond. And I just look at that and I go, I think a little competition would be good for him playing on that team in a way where it's you know what, man? There's a lot of good dudes out there, including on Team Canada.
Totally. And the chance for him to play a little different role than he does with the Nuggets.
Exactly, yeah.
Next to
Great.
a SGA where he's not just the best guard on the team. That can be really healthy for him.
100%. I think that role piece could be really interesting for him and maybe thrive and enjoy it and some camaraderie. I actually think he needs camaraderie.
Also, talking about wanting to come into camp, I know he's had injuries and there's a lot of wear and tear, but coming into camp in shape and tested, just training camp and practices against Lou Dort and Nickeil Alexander-Walker.
100%.
Having to bring the ball up the floor against them, even just in scrimmages. So there's something to it. And this could be an iron sharpens iron situation.
Canada's got some
for Jamal.
great role players.
Really do.
They do. And I feel like over the years, there's been a lot of... See, around this time that Canada kind of preliminary roster comes out and you get excited, but then it's a question of who actually shows up and plays.
Right.
So I almost feel like their hype has been kind of stalled, or maybe we kind of look past them sometimes. But they definitely have the ability, if everyone shows up and signs up, to really make some noise with this roster.
There's the competition aspect of this. There's the shape aspect of it. I really do think, though, that is part of it. Jamal Murray, we know, is good enough to challenge even Shai Gilgeous-Alexander for supremacy, meaning at his best, he does things that, are on par with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 30-10 in the finals, on that stage. The way he played again in some of these big games, 50-piece in the playoffs multiple times now. He has that in him, and I just think there's something, too, in that environment. It might be a good throwback for him. With how this season ended, a throwback to eras past where there was a competition about whose team is this year on, the junior Nike Summit teams and different things where it's all these other players and you just have that competition. I think it would be good for him, and I think it would be a really good start to the 2025 season of like, you know what, go on there and make a point. Go stand out. So I'm hoping. I'm rooting for it.
And he can lean into the underdog role too, which we know Jamal Murray loves. And also, I believe Canada's first exhibition game is against the United States in July in Vegas. It's part of the showcase that Team USA also does. Serbia's in that showcase too.
They're playing in Vegas?
I believe. I don't think it's in Vegas, but Serbia's playing Team USA. It might be abroad somewhere.
Oh, okay.
In like an exhibition tune-up game ahead of the Olympics. So the chance to showcase yourself there, and then. Would Jamal Murray love beating Team USA in the Olympics?
Sure would.
Of course, man.
Sure would.
Like, that is a game he would get absolutely hyped up for.
Jamal and SGA, if Murray does take it seriously, this is what we're saying it's opportunity it is. Jamal and SGA, man, I don't care who Team USA is. Those guys can give you. I mean, Shai, nobody guards him. Not even the Team USA guys. And you give him Jamal Murray at his apex sidekick.
And to Wynn's point, a lot of good role players too, which sometimes can be the secret sauce in international play, because you're certainly not going to go band for band, bar for bar with USA in terms of all-star talent ever, but you can build a more cohesive roster. We've seen that done. So I think Canada has they have the star power. They've got some good defenders. They should be excited.
It used to be that you got the bump. Remember, it was like, oh, so-and-so played on Team USA this summer, and then they had a career year after that. Jamal Murray is beyond that. It usually was like a 23-year-old, 24-year-old. Young Kevin Durant got a huge, the B team, if you remember.
Yeah.
Early on in his tenure, it was a big deal that he was on the B, quote-unquote, B team. This can launch you into a new stratosphere, and I just think Jamal kind of needs it, man. Jamal needs a shot in the arm. And the more I looked at that roster in particular, I was like, that's a shot in the arm right there. That'd be incredible. And plus, let's not kid ourselves. We're greedy. It's a long off season. I wouldn't mind watching Jamal Murray play a bunch this summer.
So do you think he plays?
I'm the wrong person to ask on this, just because I can't get out of my head his thing about two-a-days.
I know.
That to me, that's the only thing that I think of here is that he didn't want to play because of the two-a-days.
I mean, I would love to see him play. I don't think he plays, though. Like, I would be pretty surprised if he did play. Just coming off the season he did with all the injuries, the calf strain in the playoffs, which it seems like was the most serious injury of all of them. Coming off that year and like heading into as important of a season as it's going to be for the Nuggets next season, me personally, I would just be pretty surprised if he played. I hope he does, but I don't think he will.
Historical precedent seems to agree with that, but how do you feel?
Yeah, I hope he does, just because I do think maybe recapturing the mental edge is as important as anything. But
yes, there you go. But that's what we're talking about here.
But
mental edge.
But I don't think Wind is disagreeing. I think he also presents a practical counter, which is thus far he just hasn't. And there is a very logical argument to be made that maybe he does need recovery. I don't want to say rest, recovery. But look, I mean, we could probably talk ourselves either way here. I will say, I was just thinking to myself, we haven't really talked or thought about it much. The second I see him out there, if I see him out there in a Canada jersey, I will be pulling for Team Canada. It will be another horse in the race.
Oh, my allegiances are going Serbia, then Canada, then
Slovenia.
Yeah,
that's your top three.
Shout out Vlatko.
Yeah.
I'm getting more and more excited for the Olympics.
Angola.
There's a lot of basketball coming up. The draft free agency and trade season, right into Summer League, right into the Olympics. We actually have a lot. Celtics, old news, baby. I barely even remember them.
Yeah, let's listen. It's old news. It's in the past. It's ice under the fridge.
It is ice under the fridge. All right, let's take a break. On the other side, what's on the docket here? Oh, yes. 2 scouting reports from players the Nuggets probably aren't going to take.
Hell yeah, dude. What a tease.
Spoiler alert.
Stay tuned.
Shady Rays, guys. You need them now because, man, it's hot in Denver. The sun is shining. It's like 80, 90 degrees every day right now. Get your Shady Rays.
I have a sweater on.
Me too.
It's a little cold today.
Cold is a stretch, but
Well, you're right.
Shady Rays is an independent sunglass company. They have been rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Their shades have durable frames, crystal clear optics. They're the perfect choice for all outdoor adventures. If you go to shadyrays.com, they have tons and tons of options, styles, shapes, colors, whatever you want. Shady Rays has it. They probably have a style in your favorite team's colors as well. So go to shadyrays.com. You can use the code DNVR. Get 35% off polarized sunglasses. You can try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. And they also have a great customer care, customer service policy. If you don't love your shades, exchange them for a new pair or return them free within 30 days. There's no risk when you shop with Shady Rays. They always have your back with personal and fast support. Use the code DNVR, 35% off polarized sunglasses from Shady Rays.
if you want to go sicko mode, maybe see if they have any even remotely Nuggets colored or themed sunglasses and bring them with you to Summer League, where you'll post up at Circa Resort and Casino. Why should you stay at Circa Resort and Casino? Great question. There are a lot of good answers. Number 1 on the list, you can get 20% off right now with code DNVR20. What are you getting with that 20% off? Access to Vegas' first ever adults-only casino resort. With all due respect, I don't want to see your kids at Vegas. Let's be serious. They also have the world's largest sports book. They've got a casino.
Even wins?
That'd be
Really?
That'd be insane.
You don't even want to see Harris? Dude. I'm sorry, man.
Dude, she's really smart.
Which is,
He did tell me this, by the way, earlier today. She's a week old.
She's
2
really,
weeks
she's
old.
really smart.
we defer to her for all hits or not at the blackjack
She's holding
table.
her head up already. It's
Oh,
crazy.
man.
I
Gifted
didn't realize
child.
that was intelligence.
Gifted child.
Well,
Gifted
she's
or,
also strong. That's what I mean.
gifted or not, she's not allowed in Circa Resort and Casino.
80th
Lynn.
percentile in height.
Hell
You
yeah, hell
and
yeah.
your adult friends, up to 4,000 of your adult friends, if you want, can hang out at Stadium Swim, a giant pool with a giant screen where you can watch your favorite games and your favorite bets play out. Experience Stadium Swim and watch your favorite teams at Circa Resort and Casino. Again, book your stay with code DNVR20 to get that 20% off.
Wasn't long ago. All right, we're back here on the DNVR Nuggets podcast. I want to tell you that on our events tab, if you go to thednvr.com and you check out our events, we have all kinds of great events coming up. Obviously, the draft show is our number 1, personally.
Yes,
but we also have a
can't wait.
big, and I don't know how to, so you got to help me with this one, a big gaming event.
That's right. We've got some tournaments coming up. Tournaments for Madden, 2K, and FC. I'm actually hopping in that FC one.
These are going to be actually really sick. I want these to be big.
So
I want to grow that.
Some of you might remember may even have participated and lost to me in the FIFA tournament we did during the COVID years. That was all online together.
You won that?
I did, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's actually cool as
Yeah,
hell.
I dusted off FC recently because I haven't played in a while,
Really?
and I gotta get ready.
Wait, is it not called FIFA?
No, they've changed it these days. It's FC. But here's the
Interesting.
deal: this tournament will be in person at the bar, so a different vibe, a different feel. It's going to be a lot
You
of
can
fun.
actually talk shit to each other sitting by each other at the bar.
And come and meet some of your favorite DNVR personalities. Not me necessarily, but like I said, your favorite ones. But we'll be there, we'll be hanging out, and we'll be competing with you. So keep your eyes peeled. DNVR events, DNVR sports on social. We'll get those details to you.
I would win the Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 tournament if we had one. I swear to God, if we had one, I would win that one.
I'm
That'd
messaging
be
Lindsay
great.
after the show.
Million points every time.
We're setting that up.
2-minute free skate. I didn't matter. I'm killing. All right.
I'd win Mario Kart. It's my
Mario
game.
Kart? Is
We
that
should
your
do
game?
that
It's my
too.
game.
We all honestly we do have one game. Mine is Tony Hawk. I'm pretty good at it. All right. Let's get into the scout. Not long ago, we drafted Peter Cordeley. Petter. Sorry, Petter.
Why are we bringing up bad memories?
Oh, I don't know why. I just came out of nowhere.
Well, let's talk about Kel'el Ware,
Oh.
a 7-foot center.
Yeah.
7'5" wingspan. Legit 7-footer, guys. A
Yeah.
sophomore out of Indiana. And I mean, this guy has the look of an NBA center. And we've talked about a bunch of NBA centers. The Nuggets need a backup center. Could this be the guy? He's out of Indiana, a sophomore, started his college career at Oregon, was a pretty big recruit, but didn't play that much his freshman season, just 16 minutes a game. So he transferred to Indiana. That's where he really blew up this last season. 16 points per game, 10 rebounds, shot 59% from the floor, 43% from three, 63% from the line. He has, a lot of, he looks pretty much like a somewhat modern NBA big, can protect the rim, good shot blocker, a lob threat, good finisher inside. He's also pretty mobile for a 7-foot guy, can defend on the perimeter a little, pretty good athlete too. In terms of weakness, a lot of people knocking him for lack of effort sometimes.
Great.
And he isn't the most physical guy either. But when you're looking at potential big man options in the first round, Kel'el Ware, he checks the boxes of, rim protector, lob finisher, better than a lot of other guys in that Nuggets draft range to me.
Can we bring the chart back up though, real quick, Kale? The thing here, because I love the comp you have for him. Pro comp Jared Allen. Why? Because I swear they're not. Everybody thinks they're race comps. They're hair comps. Every comp people give, it's always a hair comp. Look at the hair. He kind of has a mini Jared Allen fro going. When I looked at it, my first thought was he kind of reminds me of Jared Allen.
Chet thinks he looks like a tall Jamal Murray as well. It's just the one picture, but
there you go. Remember, hair
Actually
comps.
does look like Jamal Murray.
Remember Montrezl Harrell? Kenneth Reed.
What the hell?
I will say, those cons are pretty alarming for a big. In terms of just right off the bat, trying to sell yourself on it. Did think Denver lacked some athleticism, a little pop in the playoffs, a little juice.
Yeah.
And so a mobile big that can finish around the rim and can block some shots. I don't know if he's necessarily at the top of my list, right, for the bigs we've talked about, but you can talk yourself into an athletic big. Denver hasn't had a ton of them. And just some guys that finish above the rim, because I can't watch Zeke Nnaji lay it up again.
The Nuggets just have never had that, 7-foot shot blocker in the Jokic era, who can also finish, who's also the lob threat, that intimidating force in the paint. I want one of those guys.
They had one.
Who?
Are you going to say Isaiah Hartenstein?
I'm just saying the man blocks a lot of shots, steals a lot of shots, and plays above the rim on the lob. They had one.
I do miss Isaiah
Hartenstein.
Hartenstein.
That's kind of what he's known for. This guy, here's the thing, man. Whenever the concern for a player is like effort and toughness,
It's very alarming.
It's very alarming. But here's a counter. And again, I want you to know, I have not scouted this guy very much at all. Watched 2 or 3 of these highlight videos. That's basically how I do the draft prep. But so you have to trust what the draft nicks are saying about the scouting report. But number one, big guys, I think, have the largest bust rate for that very thing. Like, he just didn't love the game. He just happened to be 7 feet tall, so he had to play basketball. But they also can be, this is you guys my wildest take yet, bigger guys are expressive. And I always think the more expressive a person is, the more people read into them, like so much. So if you're a little guy, maybe you're smaller, the features aren't as big. A big guy, they stand out so much. So you see them when they're upset about things or this or that. You just get that comp a lot on guys that aren't necessarily what they said they were. Oh, he doesn't love the game. It's like, no, he's just kind of big and goofy.
All right, I'll take your word for it.
You don't think so that there's this case that there's some big guys that are actually
DeAndre Ayton.
Well, he kind of does have a low motor,
but he actually
though, right?
might be an example of a guy that doesn't. DeAndre Jordan, just so expressive, so big. Everything he does, so demonstrative.
There's something to that. There are also guys who are big enough that their strides are so long that people are like, he's never sprinting. He's actually covering a lot of ground. So yes, there is something to it. But I don't think you really want to. I don't think you want to be teaching love of the game. You
can't. Do you remember Peter Corneli, the second summer league, when he was on the bench in the fourth quarter, like looking off into the stands, and we're like, he's not even watching the game right now.
Yeah, probably thinking of baguettes and
white
wine.
Man, come on, I can't believe it. All right, so Kel'el Ware, I will say, I don't think he's. I'd be shocked if he was the pick.
I would be shocked. I don't think he's a guy the Nuggets are interested in, but it seems like he's one of those guys who could be falling on draft night. A couple months ago, projected in the teens. Now it seems like he's definitely going to be in the 20s. I don't think he got a green room invite so far, so that's usually an indication that he could be slipping. So he's a guy that could very well be on the board when the Nuggets select at 28.
Okay. I also heard one of the things they say about him might need a runway. Might be a project. You
Sure.
know what they say. Lots of upside to a project. You're like, Denver's not in the project business right now, man.
I don't think they are.
Especially at backup center.
Kel'el Ware, he's 20 years old. Just turned 20 also. So he's going to play his whole rookie season at 20. He does need some seasoning,
Okay.
as Calvin Booth likes to say.
All right. Let's go to the next guy, Isaiah Collier.
Isaiah Collier, another guy who is slipping a little. This is a guy who, a year ago was in the mix to be in the top 5 of this draft. But he slipped a little, played one season at USC, went pretty decent there. He's coming off a year where he averaged 16 points per game, 4.3 assists, shot 49% from the floor, only 34% from 3. He is a big guard. 6'3". I think that's without shoes. They list him at around 6'5". Big, physical, strong. Honestly, his body reminds you a little of Bruce Brown, and he projects as a guy who's gonna, play the 1 or the 2. And he's a playmaker. Can create a lot of stuff on offense. Can get into the lane, set others up. Pretty physical as an offensive player and defender. Not that polished in terms of his shooting or decision making right now. And again, he's also a young guy that probably needs some seasoning too. Played one season at USC, but was a very, heralded recruit in high school. He's just 19 years old.
This guy doesn't seem like a Booth guy to me. For one, 6'3". I know they've got Pickett, who's basically a 6'3" player, but this guy seems more, if you're going to be small, you better be like this dynamic scorer. You might have a crazy one skill. To me, based on the little I've seen of him, it doesn't seem like he's necessarily that guy. Bruce Brown, and by the way, Bruce Brown is 6'4". Not 6'3".
Collier's listed at 6'5".
Yeah, these are combine numbers. So that's without shoes.
When I was talking about Bruce Brown being 6'2", I was talking about this as well, but as we all know, he corrected us. So I'm just saying, but I don't know, man. Bruce Brown's such a funny comp because the Bruce Brown is good, but he's a weird player. If you're trying to be the Bruce Brown comp, like 1 out of every 20 Bruce Browns hits. You know what I mean? That's such a narrow style of player to hit.
I just mean it in terms of, look, similar body, I think. Physical, big guard, can play both backcourt spots, should be a pretty good defender, and he's kind of like the in-between type of player Bruce Brown is.
And that's what I know. It's a good comp. But what I'm saying is usually when you have a small guy like that, it's like, oh, well, he's a lights out shooter, man. Or that guy just passes like you wouldn't believe or defends the point of attack. And he seems to be more of a Bruce, a jack of all trades. And it's like, yeah, a lot of jack of all trades just become nothing. Bruce is the exception.
Yeah, and I'm kind of interested in guards that are maybe more intriguing about how they can play as like a combo or off ball alongside Murray, and not necessarily because I've talked a lot about how putting Murray next to another point guard has just kind of seemed, fruitless. So I am like, you do need more ball handling, but I think you kind of want guys that you feel like you can plug into different lineups. Especially because they're picking 28th in the draft. So I don't think they're going to find some like stud backup point guard that's ready to go right away. So in terms of like taking the Reggie role or whatever. So I am kind of curious about secondary ball handling, secondary creation, but guys who have something to offer without necessarily dribbling a ton. So I don't know if he necessarily fits the bill here.
Kale, find Wynn's tweet from today that had the latest mock draft. What do you think it means, Wynn, that DaRon Holmes keeps coming in, and literally every mock draft has DaRon Holmes going to the Nuggets. Yeah. And the write-up that you posted today was more, and that was Gavoni's, I believe, and it was like, yeah, that's what everybody knows. It was almost, they're not even just suggesting it, they're almost saying like that's the pick. What do you make of that?
The DaRon Holmes smoke is crazy right now. It's almost like there's this consensus that the Nuggets are just taking him. Mm-hmm. So it's either two things. The first option is the Nuggets did promise him, and the word got out. And that's definitely what happened, so everybody's just mocking him to the Nuggets. The second option is, yeah, the Nuggets had some interest in him, and every draft evaluator ran with it, And now that's just become the consensus because all these guys talk to each other. All of them, I think to some extent, like what happens is you just share your opinions with another, and that just becomes a story. DaRon Holmes to the Nuggets. So maybe there was a little interest and people ran with it, and now it just kind of developed into the consensus. That, I think, is the more likely option. Like, do I think the Nuggets promised DaRon Holmes? Probably not. I just think they probably have some interest. That got out, and now everybody just has connected the dots. I think there is interest there, absolutely. But could he be the guy at 28? Yeah, I could see it.
What do you make of it?
It's
hard to know. I mean,
it has felt like some of the last few years when there's been a lot of smoke, there's been fire with the Nuggets and prospects. The fit. It's not a huge stretch to see like how he could conceivably make sense for Denver, what they try to do their roster. So it's hard enough to mock all these guys. So I think once you kind of have an approximate range, mutual interest kind of fit thing, easy to slot it and run with it. But I think there's a lot there. Like I think Holmes is the kind of guy that they would look at should they draft 28. I kind of feel like I'm running in circles and contradicting myself as I talk about what they need to get and how it fits with the current roster. And I think for me, it's just that I keep coming back to the fact that I think they should trade this pick. If they, easier said than done, right? Like for what? What trades are available? That part I get. But it's just, it just feels like the roster's kind of full right now. Again, it's not like they're picking in a spot where you're necessarily going to find a slam dunk ready to play guy.
Yeah. If it was DaRon Holmes, what do you think the odds are that he would be better than this year's Zeke Naji?
Not very easily non-zero.
Well, but I'm saying like, a percentage out of 1 to 100. Like, is it more likely in your mind that this rookie is going to be better than what Zeke Naji gave you this year?
I would say it's quite likely from the perspective of Naji gave them almost nothing.
Yeah.
So,
what do you think?
Better than Zeke Naji this last year.
Naji almost got worse, honestly, every year. That's his. I think he just got broken, like less confident.
I think he could be better than Zeke Naji. There's a chance.
What's crazy about this is that the plan? You get DaRon Holmes, and that's the backup center, and you're just like, who knows, man?
I think you would draft him and then sign a veteran minimum guy. I think that would be the plan.
Who would play over him?
Yeah. And DaRon Holmes, it probably helps that he just makes so much sense with the Nuggets' current roster to connect the dots that way.
Yeah.
He's not a Christian Brown, a Peyton Watson, a Julian Strother, and he's not even a Hunter Tyson, Jalen Pickett.
Right.
He plays the one position where the Nuggets don't have a prospect in the pipeline at.
That's fair. That's a good point.
That is so easy to connect the dots in that way too.
That's a really good point. My only
they obviously just need another big man, so
right.
It's easy in that way.
In that sense, it makes a ton of sense. My only counter would be if conceivably this late first round pick could somehow help you get a backup ball handler that you feel more comfortable with than say Pickett. Maybe that's appealing, knowing that whoever that minimum guy is just going to come in and play anyway. But
all right, let's take a break. Those are the draft, the prospects for today, and some DaRon Holmes news. On the other side, though, we're going to snake draft champions of the 21st century, not included the Nuggets. They're off the board. We'll see who builds the better collection of champions.
Underdog Fantasy. It's the easiest place to play fantasy sports. Hope you guys got in on the action during the NBA Finals. A lot of fun to play Underdog Fantasy during those 5 games. But the best part about Underdog Fantasy is you can play it with all different sports. Now that it's no longer the NBA season. Is the NHL still going on? I think so, right? Yeah.
Oh, there we
got
go.
Game 6 coming up. I'm rooting for Florida. I don't know who you guys are rooting for.
Oh, Oilers, baby, all the way.
You're an Oilers guy? Okay.
Big Oilers fan.
But you can play Underdog Fantasy with the NHL. You can also play it with other sports throughout the summer as well. Really easy to play, fun to play as well. So you can sign up today with promo code DNVR to claim your special pick plus first-time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. Underdog Fantasy with code DNVR. You can scan that QR code right there on the screen. Download the app, You can click the link in the description as well. Sign up today. Use code DNVR must be 18 plus and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concern with your play, call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ncpgambling.org.
And Westera Credit Union was founded in 1934 here in Colorado. It's a long time ago, folks, with 9 locations in the Denver metro area. So that's a real Colorado brand right there. They're all about helping members financially prosper. Education is their thing. They were started by a group of school teachers, so helping others is in their DNA. As a member, you see that come through in every interaction. It's all about the local community with these guys, and that's an encouraging note because the financial world is one that's almost built, particularly in the vocabulary sense, to seem inaccessible, to make you feel like you have to rely on others who might, in fact, take advantage of you. Education is important here, so that's a great note. They just launched an awesome new product, Smart Money Checking. Meet the checking account designed to help you earn unheard of interest on smaller balances with other great perks. You can earn up to 6% annual percentage yield on your first $2,000 each month. As your balance grows, so does your potential to unlock additional great rates for higher balances. It's basically like saving $120 a year. If you like earning money by doing the things you're already doing with your checking account, visit westeracu.com/smartmoney for more details. Membership eligibility required, insured by NCUA. Restrictions and conditions apply.
All right, we are back here. This is going to be a very interesting segment because going back, I always feel like I'm your guys' age for the most part, except for these little things. There's little things where I'm like, oh, that's right, I'm 10 years older than you both. And one of those is when we talk about historical NBA teams because obviously back in 2000, I was basically an adult on the doorstep of adulthood. Well, you guys were in diapers. So now we're doing this snake drafting best champions of the 21st century. So starting with the 2000 Lakers, I'm just curious to hear. I have a feeling that this is going to be very recent.
Yeah.
Like most of your guys' picks are going to be the last 15 years.
Yeah. Because I can even know about how dominant a team was, but do I have any sort of connection to the run or memory? So are we just trying to get like best pound for pound? Is favorite champions factoring into this?
So whenever you compare eras, it has to be like, because if I told you like the 2004 or 2006 Heat had to play the 2024 Celtics, you'd be like, well, the Celtics are going to take 30 more threes a game and probably win just because the game has evolved. You're playing with these rules. But we're just kind of going greatest. They were the most, what you think were the greatest relative to their eras or what have you. So
greatest teams.
Greatest teams, yeah. This is greatest. So you got the first pick. So you get to say who you think is the number one best. How am I always last on these? You guys notice that? Kel always puts together the board. I'm always dead last.
I don't know how these are determined.
I think there's a clear top 2, which is kind of the funny part.
Interesting, a big 2.
Who is going to be your number one vote?
The Celtics.
Yeah, see, I kind of have this differently. Some of this is going to be my favorite champ, so I'm gonna go differently than some people think here.
Okay.
I'm going to take the 13-14 San Antonio Spurs.
Oh man, that's my squad. I love that team. They're not number one, but they were more dominant than people realize. This is such a wild first pick. Just put the second year to 2014, the year they won it.
I'm doing this a bit. The list that I made for myself was my personal favorite championships.
Yeah.
So this is going to be different. I just love this one so much because they just came back and beat the Heat, and it was this sort of forget the musical chairs offseason stuff. These guys beat us. We don't love the way their team was constructed. We don't love this big 3 thing. We still think we have some juice left in the tank. They all came back and just crushed an amazing team with, at worst, I think the second best player of all time, really sort of hitting his stride. So. Again, I'm actually semantically, I'm already losing. This is not the best champions, but
it's definitely an interesting pick. This to me is like your good sleeper pick that goes 3 too high. You took him 1. This is Anthony Bennett.
I made my list wrong. This is my favorite champs. I got Spurs 1.
By the way, you can't take Denver. That was the rule. So of course we would have all picked Denver number 1. So here's the thing about them: 61 wins, went 61-21. They did go to 7 in the first round against Dirk's Mavs. But then after that, 4-1, 4-2, and then a dominant 4-1 in the finals over the Miami Heat. They also won like 18 of 20 to close the season. This team was incredible. One of the best, probably the best passing team of my lifetime.
Yeah,
and
the beautiful game.
The beautiful game, man. They have sequences that even the Nuggets at their absolute apex only barely made it to the level they were at passing.
Even those Warriors teams, which are like better pound for pound and better rosters, I actually just think at their peak in that finals, that was the best I've ever seen a team play basketball.
It's like they had one brain.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Bad first pick, but I love that team as well. Wind?
They got 21 and a half minutes out of Tiago Splitter that year.
Again, we can't do... Tiago Splitter was good, though. He was good.
Somehow the Spurs got 21 and a half minutes out of him.
Yeah. All right, what do you got?
All right, I'm going to take the 2017 Warriors.
It's a good pick.
They lost one game in the entire playoffs. That was in the finals to the Cavs. They swept the Blazers, swept the Jazz, swept the Spurs.
Yeah.
Then lost one game in the finals. This was the first Kevin Durant year.
This is one of the lamest teams.
I remember watching the Warriors play the Nuggets that year at what was then called Pepsi Center. And there was one sequence that came to mind where it was just a 3-on-1 or 3-on-2 fast break for the Warriors. Steph Curry leading it. And he had Klay Thompson running down one side of the floor, Kevin Durant running down the other side of the floor. And it was at that moment I knew the league was absolutely fucked. And that's what happened. 67-15, and like I said, they went 16-1 in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I don't know if it can get more dominant than that.
Yeah, but I'm glad I didn't take them.
You're going to actually win the
Yeah,
draft
they're
now.
so whack. You're
They're
right
so-
that they're better, and they should have been the team I picked.
And I don't even know if they had many close playoff games
They
that
didn't.
year. I
They
think
was-
they had like maybe 2.
They ruined the league. They ruined the league. The 2001 Lakers. I think that team is probably, and the 2001 Lakers are the two. Yeah, you're right. We really are making our teams differently over here, and you'll win because of this. But that team obviously was the apex of Kobe and Shaq. They go 3-0 in the first round against the Blazers, 4-0 against the Kings, 4-0 against the Spurs, and then they lose game 1 because they were all hungover from pre-celebrating the championship against the 76ers. Then went on to smack the 76ers. That was also Shaq. I remember everybody was making fun of Rudy Gobert this year and like struggling to guard the perimeter. Well, that was, I believe, the year Dikembe Mutombo wins the Defensive Player of the Year and then actually matches up one-on-one with Shaq and gives up 35 points a game on 70% shooting. Like, it was the most dominant. There's nobody that can guard this guy.
You know what's funny is you should just keep it real now and take the 0-2 Lakers next.
Oh, so terrible.
The Nets didn't have a chance. The Nets didn't have a chance.
Weirdly, honestly, all 4 of my top 4 teams are off the board. So my next team, I'll go with the 2016 Cavs. That, to me, was LeBron's apex.
Yes.
A lot of people say 2013. I disagree. I think LeBron was significantly smarter in 2016 without having lost functional athleticism. Like, he wasn't as athletic as he was in, like, 2009, but he still was athletic enough to dominate the game. They were unbelievable. They went up and beat one of the all-time great teams in the Warriors. I just think that was LeBron's apex, and he's one of the greatest teams ever. So, for me, I'm taking the 2016 Cavs. Kyrie Irving was also really good at that year.
Well, I mean, Kyrie Irving hit the shot.
He hit the shot, so that's who I would go next. All right, who do you got, Vote?
It's me. I will go. Let's see here.
I'm going to hate my team. It's all teams I hate.
Well, I'm about to take a team I hated. I'm going to take the 2012 Heat.
The 2012 over the 2013 Heat.
Yeah, because
Interesting.
the 2012 Heat, the first year LeBron got there, they had that classic series against Boston.
Yeah, that was a close one. The skin of their teeth.
But really, they blew everybody else out of the water. And, that was the year where, like, LeBron was just on the mission.
2012 Heat.
I think, was that the year where LeBron shot, like, 50?
I think that was. I
5%
thought that was
from the year.
2013 was the year where he
Oh.
stopped taking threes except for catch and shoots.
And he developed the post game.
Yeah.
Everybody was like, get your ass in the post. And he was like, fine.
Where are you going next?
There's still the 18 Warriors. There's still the 0-2 Lakers. I kind of just want to take the Heat.
You just don't want to take the Warriors
Or the Lakers.
That soulless Warriors team that nobody
I
cares
kind of
about.
want to take the 13 Heat now.
The 13 Heat to me was better than the 12 Heat. They got pushed by a really good Spurs team. That's just what happened. But they were really good.
I'm gonna stick with a theme. I'll take the 13 Heat. I'll take the 13.
What is the
Heat.
theme? 13,
just
14?
those two teams playing each other.
Oh, okay,
Which to
gotcha.
me are still actually the best finals I've ever
They
seen.
really, I mean, well, the 14 one was not. That was an ass whooping.
No, but that was the best
Yeah, because it was a response.
Dude, they without
a good take.
without this roster is unbeatable per se. I've just never seen a team get the best out of themselves the way that 14 Spurs
Yeah.
team did.
2013 Warriors were like athletically just insane. Yeah, they were great. All right, what else? What next?
Now I will take when you took the 17 Warriors.
Yeah.
I'll take the 18 Warriors.
That's a boring pick. Correct. They should have gone top 3. But they are. It's always funny when you have a back-to-back champ and they're kind of the exact same team and then one falls. You know what I mean? But it's just kind of how it is. It gets unfun after a while. They were dominant. It sucked. I'm going to go with the 25th. Oh, actually, gosh dang it, you're up again. How does a snake draft work?
Is this your first snake draft?
Yeah.
Okay. I will take the I'm gonna pull a page out of Vote's book here and just take my personal favorite,
yeah.
Oh.
and that's the 2011 Mavs.
Damn it! Oh, that was my 5th round sweetheart.
Everybody knows Dirk Nowitzki, my first favorite player. I love Dirk. And this is one of like the first finals that's really ingrained in my memory. 2011. The finals that I think might have changed like everybody's individual opinion of a player the most before maybe Nikola Jokic. Like if Dirk doesn't win the finals, he's a fraud. The fact that he won it means he's, a legendary dude.
Right.
And how much of a beast he was in those finals against the Heat
Yeah.
was something I'll never forget.
And the same with the Lakers. If you guys remember that Lakers series, the Lakers are coming off of back-to-back titles, so they were still felt like the team to beat, and they smacked the hell out of that poor team. Just beat them to sleep. So the 2015 Warriors are still on the board. I'm taking them. That team, I know it's crazy to say, that 2015 Warriors, the first Warriors year, was so good.
Oh, it was amazing.
And it was so good the next year. They just happened to lose to the Cavs team. But this version of it, that was also the beautiful game where they were just so connected and everything. And it's kind of a miracle they didn't win that game or that season. They were really good. And then weirdly enough, because of the 17 and 18 Warriors with KD, the 15 Warriors gets, I think, knocked down way farther than they should be. I kind of wish we could see the 2015 Warriors play the 2017 Warriors.
Yeah.
I think it'd be closer than people think. My next one, and now it really makes you realize how much you hate every team that won. Because like most of these teams, I'm like, I hate that I have to do this, but I'm going to go with can't believe I'm saying it, 2008 Celtics. That team was incredible. Rajon Rondo that year was unbelievable. Kevin Garnett was unbelievable.
My least favorite
Paul
team of
Pierce
all
was
time.
so annoying.
I had a huge illegal bet on Rondo MVP
Really?
for the finals. That almost hit.
People don't remember how good Rondo was at that
It was a
era,
massive
man.
bet.
He was
Totally illegal.
Jokic-esque in how he did literally everything. He was unbelievable.
It's my least favorite team of all time. But like you're right, they're on.
Dude, you know
this
what?
they
list.
were
Some big
really
shots
good.
in that playoff run. Eddie House.
That's true.
Some massive threes.
Leon Poe played a key role.
Yeah.
Man.
All right, what do you got, Wind?
All right, I will go to another one of my personal favorites, but also just a great team. The 04 Pistons,
Yeah, okay.
who beat the Lakers 4-1 in the finals, of course. Chauncey Billups, finals MVP. I love this team. Before Dirk was one of my favorite players, it was Rip Hamilton. I love Rip
Really?
Hamilton, man. I love that dude.
Such a Wind guy. I swear.
Why is he? What's wrong with Rip Hamilton?
Nothing. He's good. He's just so fundamentally sound.
I know.
You know,
Just a
coming off those
great
screens.
player, man.
Incredibly conditioned.
Great player. I loved Rip Hamilton. I love Tayshaun Prince. I love that Pistons team.
Chauncey,
Of course. So yeah, I love the 04 Pistons.
Ben Wallace. That really was a good team.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take the 07 Spurs.
Man, that's the right pick. I had them on my board. I didn't think you'd do it.
I'm gonna take the 07 Spurs.
a great one.
Quite a run. 4-1 over the Nugs, then 4-2 over that great Suns team. Crushed the Jazz in the Western Conference Finals, and obviously the Cavs
Sucked.
had no business outside of LeBron, but they swept them.
And it wasn't close.
Yeah. And this is like closer to age peak Spurs. So
They won 64 games that regular season. It really was kind of an apex for them.
it was machine like.
It was a
man. They
machine-like.
just went through it.
That was probably Tim Duncan's apex.
yeah.
So, That's a good one.
You know what's a funny one? So the 0-2 Lakers sweep the Nets and they complete the 3-peat, except what do you remember the 0-2 Lakers for, really?
The BS series against the Kings.
So I'm not doing
They
it.
should have lost.
Yeah, so I can't do it.
They were really good, though. I know, it's hard after here. There's a point to us getting to this part of it. It's really hard. I'm very curious to see who the last picks will be.
Oh, God, I hate to do this.
My board's pretty thin.
I hate to do this. I'm going to take the 2010 Lakers.
Okay.
I'm going to take the 2010 Lakers. Doesn't feel good, but what am I going to do? Pick the Celtics? No.
I can't believe this
You know
year's
what?
Celtics haven't made
You know
it.
what?
You don't want to pick this year's Celtics? They went 64 games.
0-10 Lakers are a better champ, but I want to pick one I like more.
Oh, my God. Hurry.
All right, I'm going to leave it.
All right. Who are you taking?
It's a great question here.
Look at my horrible board. God, this sucks.
Well, you drafted the 08 Celtics, man.
They're incredible.
Yeah, but
I'm about to do a worse one here, I think, here in a second.
one of my faves is still up there.
Really?
A lot of people hated this one. I liked it.
I can't draft this one. I hated this
I'm telling you,
team.
there's no good teams left. You're going to have to pick one.
Yeah.
You can take the Bucks. They're not, like, hateable.
I mean, they weren't that good, though.
I agree.
No one cares about that title.
You know who I'm definitely not taking? The Raptors.
Well, that's the worst one of the last 24 years, I think.
Yeah.
Sorry, Raptors fans.
I'm trying to see.
can
Let's
take
see
one of these
what's
Spurs
still on the
ones.
board. I am going to take a Spurs one.
05 Spurs.
I
is
don't
probably your
have the
next best
Spurs
one.
on my board yet. It's either 03 or 05 that I'm taking here.
They just run together, those two, I feel.
I mean,
05,
for
I
sure.
think, is the better team. I think. I'm pretty sure of it.
The 2003 Spurs, they beat the Nets in the finals. The 2005 Spurs,
Pistons?
the Pistons.
And the
4-3.
Pistons were a heck of a team. That was a tough finals. They won the final game like
they were,
65
They were
to
coming off a
63.
championship. I'll go 05 Spurs.
I think that's right. I think that's the right pick. And I hate to do this, but I'm going to probably take the 2024 Boston Celtics.
Oh,
They
good
won
luck.
64
Listen,
games. None of the games were
listen.
close.
This-
I hate to give it to them.
Objective-
but
Rasho Nesterovic gave the Spurs 25.5 minutes per game that season.
That's
2005.
That's
insane.
objectively the right pick, but having two Celtics picks back to
Back
back
to
is
back
just a
on top of a
tough-
Lakers pick and then a Warriors Cavs. It doesn't feel good. All right, that's our boards. We'll take a break on the other side. The reason for doing this is how many of those teams right there that you're looking at would the 2023 Denver Nuggets have beaten? We'll debate that on the other side.
It is Miller time on the DNVR Nuggets podcast. It's always Miller time. Check out Miller Lite, the best light beer out there. All those other light beers, they suck. They taste like water. They don't taste like beer. But Miller Lite throws away what you don't need and holds on to what matters most. Miller Lite, they keep it simple. Undebatable quality, great taste, only 96 calories. It's the beer that strips away everything you don't need and holds on to what matters most. A light beer that tastes like beer, less filling, only 96 calories, the original light beer. Since 1975, you can buy Miller Lite pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Drink it while watching the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs. Drink it while watching a Rockies game. A Rockies game that's probably going to get blown in the 9th inning. I don't know if you guys saw that. Did you actually see that? That was
I did see
crazy.
it, yeah.
Times change, but you can always enjoy the great taste of Miller Lite. Tastes like Miller time to get Miller Lite delivered right to your door. MillerLite.com/DNVR, or you can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories per 12 ounces.
We've already seen the most damaging hailstorms since 2017 in Denver this hail season. Red Hawk Roofing was there for you then. They're there for you going forward as well. They're the best roofers in the biz. They're joining the DNVR team. Quality materials, decades of experience, quick response time. Colorado's best estimators and contractors, my favorite part. Huge fans of this show because they're huge fans of the Denver Nuggets, which I assume you are as well. Look, sometimes you get caught up in small talk with the folks working on your home. It's much better when that small talk is about Jokic. That's my humble opinion. Plus, there's free no-obligation roof and property inspections, free in-depth photo reports for all inspections. Again, hail season is here. Don't wait to take care of any issues before more big storms hit. Supporting your local teams means supporting local businesses like Red Hawk Roofing. If you are looking for a new roof over your home or business, be sure to check out Red Hawk Roofing at redhawkroofing.com or call 720-771-8921. Tell them DNVR sent you.
Alrighty, we got about 5 minutes here. If you pull that back up, Kale, the draft, the snake draft that we just did. This is, kind of how we just weighed the value or how good we think these teams were.
Notice how I didn't take a Lakers team.
I did notice that. You're just trying to win the snake draft, which I salute.
I'm pandering a little bit. Not afraid to admit it.
I took a Lakers and 2 Celtics. I'm getting 0 votes. I'm not even voting for myself, if I'm being honest. But here's the thing. I think the Nuggets, remember they won 2023. Bill Simmons goes out there famously and says, this is the best team the last, since the Warriors or what have you. Then you lose, and you lose to the freaking Wolves. And I feel like even though it's a different team, and the Nuggets clearly were not, you're comparing 2 different things. I just have a feeling that the Nuggets are going to get the 2021 Bucks treatment and how people think of them. This team that was like they deserve the title and everything. But when we talk about the best, they're just eliminated early from it.
Unless they win this one.
And then it becomes the Spurs.
Yeah,
where you're
precisely.
Just, whatever.
Yeah.
So I do feel like at the moment, if you just were to poll the average person, the Nuggets would not make a snake draft. If PHLY or CHGO did this exact experiment, I don't think the Nuggets would have made the list. That being said, we know the truth. That team was unbelievable. 16-4, dominated. Most of the games weren't close. After the last 12 games, none of them were really close. So where do you think, Harrison, where do you think the line is, the theoretical line of where the Nuggets would go if you just snake through this?
Well, it's tough because if you look back at their run, 16-4 in the playoffs, that's dominant.
Yeah.
That's up there with some of, the first couple picks of this draft in terms of just dominance and win-loss record in the playoffs. And then if you went back and watched, I think you would think even higher of the Nuggets, just in terms of their execution, how perfect the basketball was at some points in that series. You think back to how they just dismantled the Lakers down the stretch with flawless clutch time execution in some of those fourth quarters. You think about how dominant they looked in the finals against the Heat. I think if you really went back and watched, your opinion would go up even higher. And my other takeaway, just thinking back, is that I actually think that Nuggets team was better than we might have even seen, because I'm not sure if the competition that they faced actually pushed them to the levels that they could get to. We'll never know, obviously, but I really do wonder if they did match up with the Celtics last year in the finals, if their play would have been elevated even higher just because the competition was better. So all of that to say, I feel like they're probably, in my opinion, in the, third, fourth round of this type of draft.
Yeah, that's what I think too.
They're not at the dominant level, obviously, that, those best Spurs teams were. The Warriors with Kevin Durant, obviously. Like, that team was just so clear-cut, 3 tiers above the next best team in the league. But they have an argument to be in this draft, absolutely, in the middle couple rounds.
Yeah, I think they would. I think that 5th round, they could have beaten those teams, including the 24 Celtics.
I agree.
I actually do.
I actually think they beat all 3 of those teams.
I think so. I think they'd beat the 04 Pistons.
It's a tough one, but probably it's a tough one.
That's like such a.
They're such different eras.
It's almost nonsense, but I'll just say that because that team, as much as they got the best out of themselves, it's a far cry from the 17 Warriors roster wise, right? So yeah, I think that's probably right, man. I think that's probably right. They are kind of similar to the 24 Celtics, even though I think they'd beat them. The Celtics dominated the league, but it was funny going from one year to the next and realizing, as great as the Nuggets title felt, like, I understand people saying it wasn't the hardest run of all time. It wasn't, nor was the Celtics. So it does make it kind of hard to measure.
I think, bring it back up there just for 1 second here, Kale, so I can keep an eye on it. So part of this board that we have is like the 2014 Spurs, the 2011 Mavs probably belong on like line 4 to me, and you can move some other teams up, and that's what throws this off. But to me, I look at it and I go, okay, bottom line, I think Denver beats. The 08 Celtics are a tough one. I think that one is, I think if you put that to the general public, most people would have the 08 Celtics. I think the 04 Pistons is another tough one. I think Denver would have had them. 07 Spurs, I don't. 2011 Mavs, I do. So, like, some of this, I think Denver is around the halfway point, probably slightly down on that. But if you open it up to all the teams we didn't take, they're above half in the last 24 years. And I think that's probably right. If they were supposed to be ranked 1 through 24, I just think Denver would probably be around, 12th.
Dude, I think the 14 Spurs would smoke them.
I don't know. Maybe they would.
I mean, if you go through and just rank the best players on each of these teams,
Yeah.
Nikola Jokic is near the top.
Yeah.
The level he played at in last year's playoff run, that's up there
I
with
agree.
how LeBron played, on that Cavs championship team.
I agree.
How, whoever you want to pick from the Warriors, Steph Curry played on those championship teams. Duncan on the best Spurs teams. You can make the argument Nikola Jokic was better individually than all those guys.
I think you could.
I just think they were like the form itself of execution, man. And I could see Denver getting swept up real quick. Like, I love
Denver was executing at a really high level too. You were all right that they were at an incredible level, but Denver was also on point in that playoffs. I mean, the ball popped offensively, defensively. The rotations were on point.
You think about the execution against the Lakers in some of those fourth quarters, going to the same play over and over again. The Jokic Murray 2-man game, clear the whole side, just run that.
And it's like
Same
9
play
times in a row
every
they
time.
score. Yeah.
And LeBron James and Anthony Davis, pretty good defensive combo. Couldn't stop it.
Some of these teams beat prime LeBron James. And after that one, LeBron said, there's nothing I could do but tip my hat to the guy. Like, he went up against some all-time great teams and players, and Yoke was the one that had him as bewildered as anyone.
Look, man, I just think in 2014, LeBron James was hitting his stride and was just coming off that title and was pretty goddamn good. And
he was too early to give a hat tip at that age.
That's
Like,
what I'm saying.
He was too young and like still, but he deserved it as well.
People are going to rate me for picking them first overall. That's fine. It's not the best roster at all, but it's, to me, one of the most impressive championships. For them to be
They were the ultimate team.
For them to be at the stage that they were, to get whooped at the start of this big three, not whooped, but like to run into the Heatles at the start of this big three era, LeBron playing as well as he did, for them to just go, no, man, we're coming back and they're not stopping us, and then to kick their ass the way they did in the finals, I think that team doesn't get enough credit. I think they could beat a lot of the best rosters of all time.
The narrative is going to be such that if Denver loses in the first or second round next year, albeit a completely different team once again, that title will just keep going down.
Totally.
Like, it'll just keep getting sunk.
Yeah.
And
They're
it'll
gonna
suck.
be
So, I mean, who really
they're
cares?
They're going to be teetering into Milwaukee and Toronto territory.
And then if
More
you
and
win
more.
one, you just automatically go up another level, especially if you can dominate the regular season the way we all hope. All right, that does it for today's show, guys. We got some super chats.
We'll go quick. Cedric Exquisite, 1 Mavs 2011, 2 Cavs 2016, 3 Pistons 2004, 4 Nuggets 2023, 5 Raptors 2019.
Good list.
Hot take. Please
Raptors
rate
2019.
Kale, Nuggets 2012 champs with KCP. Finals
Man,
MVP.
I hope so. Don't jinx it, Adam. What did I do? I hope that KCP is back, man.
According to NBA GOAT Insider, he some good news.
Really? What was it?
You missed yesterday's show.
There was that guy that always breaks the news. Is that what you're saying?
I don't know who that is, but NBA GOAT
Well.
Insider
Cedric Exquisite, need Kale.
teasing some good news.
Need
I was
Kale.
in a
Please show
3-hour
your
meeting.
face. Give us takes soon. It's Kale. And there's an intern. Hey. Josh Barnett from Down Under. DNVR, the sunshine
Good
of my
day,
day.
mate.
Enjoy the solstice.
Tomorrow. Longest day of the year.
Surprised you haven't brought it up yet. That's usually how I know it's coming.
I thought that would be the theme of today's show.
Well, it's tomorrow, you guys. Why would we do the solstice theme before the solstice? Everybody enjoy the second longest day of the year. Hit that like button on the way out.
We all silly like the mayor.